Hey, badass crew. I want to share my personal experience with the X39 LifeWave patch. My friend John Kadori introduced me to Eddie V, who gifted me some X39 patches to try. Honestly, the first few days, I didn't really feel any different. Then I went dancing with one of my besties. I thought for sure when I woke up the next morning that I'd be stiff and sore, but on the contrary, I actually hopped out of bed ready to take on the day. I'm continuing to stay on the X39 because I'm also seeing the difference in my friend John, and I want to get those kind of results. I'll keep you posted on my experience. Go to reactivate stem cells.com / how X39 works to get the 4-minute video explaining how this little patch does so much.
Welcome to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Badass Direct Sales Mastery is a podcast for rock star direct sales moms who are determined to make their business kick ass. Jenny will share her knowledge of effective sales and recruiting techniques, tips to get what you want from your business, and will interview direct sales professionals and leaders from various companies. The interviews will give insight to how these rock stars got to where they are and where they plan to grow in the future. And now, the direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger.
Welcome back to another episode of Badass Direct Sales Mastery. I'm your host, your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger, helping you whip your business into shape. Today, I have with me Lynette Esperanza Robinson, and she is a business strategist, expert sales coach, certified master life coach, and she has had the opportunity to work with high-performing entrepreneurs at every stage of their business across multiple industries, including health and wellness, music, coaching, franchising, and e-commerce. Her high-level knowledge of each sector, combined with her genuine desire to support others to step into the best version of themselves, has helped her clients achieve groundbreaking results. And we're talking like 10x, 12x in their sales, which helps to increase their income and their impact using her powerful combination of customized sales systems and potent business strategies. Y'all, I mean, this is going to be fun. I can't wait. Along with science-backed mindset and energetics coaching. Oh my gosh. I love anytime we can bring the woo-woo together with the science. Oh, this is going to be fun. Welcome to the show, Lynette.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. It's going to be a great conversation.
Oh, girl, you don't even know.
I can feel it. I'm like, this is going to be so good.
Yeah.
So fun.
Well, that's really the point of all of this, right? Is because if somebody wanted to have a much more conservative conversation, they can go listen to any other podcast. You want to hear the fun stuff? That's why my listeners stay here, why the badass crew is always listening to the show. So, Lynette, tell us a little bit about your history. How did you get to be this sought after coach, speaker, serial entrepreneur? How'd you get to where you are today?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting story because it's not the kind of normal pathway. Although a lot of entrepreneurs, I feel like that's their story. It's like, well, but for me, I opened my first brick and mortar business many moons ago at this point, and what it feels like, and having done a lot of other things at that point, and actually one of my longest things that I've done in my life is I worked as a working professional musician, and up until that point, that was the main focus of my life, and things happen, and I made this decision to open a brick and mortar business, and it was so exciting and fun and hard and overwhelming. And oh my gosh, even with all this education and all this experience, I just still felt like, whoa, this is crazy. But it was how I kind of got to where I am today is that, in the midst of that, I opened my doors. So exciting. My marketing is working. There's people coming in. And I had this moment where I realized, oh my gosh, I have to sell to these people. I have to close them. I have to sell to them. And I have the most distinct memory of standing behind my desk in my physical space with my knees like literally knocking, just so nervous, thinking, oh my gosh. And thinking, that this really was something that this was like something that I had to have like I had to be like a special person. And I had all these ideas in my mind about what it meant to sell. And there's just like a lot of things. And so fast forward, I, thank goodness, figured out like, okay, like let's sell, started to really bring a lot of people into my business, and it was so exciting, and discovered like this is a skill set. This is a skill set that you can develop over time. You don't have to be a special person. You don't have to like do it a particular way, or like, but it's a skill set. And that was honestly really revolutionizing for me. In the process of all of those things, I eventually started working for the franchisor that I had owned a franchise of. So I had sold my interest in my business. And in that process with what I was doing, I ended up doing a lot of business consulting and kind of coaching on everything from team management to, how to kind of get things organized inside of your business, system structures. And through that process, I realized, wow, I really have a talent at this, like where I can kind of come in and see things that other people aren't seeing from a strategic standpoint. And like very quickly, actually just did this with a client like yesterday, and they're like, oh, this is so simple. And I'm like, it seems simple now because I've said this, but that's part of why like you hire people like me, because it's like, it's not simple. But anyways, I discovered that I had this skill set, and it kind of just evolved from there. And over the course of all this time, I have continued to invest in like my own learning. One of my personal core values is always be a student, meaning that if you can always take a posture of curiosity and learning, like nothing is impossible for you. So I invested in a lot of high level coaching, sales training, things like that have really helped me continue to bolster, grow, and refine that skill set that I am able to take to my clients now and the people that I work with across lots of different sectors. And it's so cool because like their results are bananas. It's like really exciting just seeing people realize the dream that they have. Because I don't know about you, but like so many times people start business, whether it's a side hustle or full-time business, network marketing, like whatever it is, because they have a dream and a vision of what it is that they want for their life next. And it's so beautiful and it's so exciting. But oftentimes like we get stuck and like, well, how do I get from where I am now to where I want to go? And leveraging the skill set around, some things inside of business acumen, but also just like the skill set around selling. Like friends, if you're taking notes, probably you're not, you're probably driving right now. But if you are, like if you don't have sales, you don't have a business. Sorry to be tough, but like I think your audience will probably like it. But listen, if you don't have sales, if you're not making sales, you don't have a business. And I think when people start to realize that and really emphasize this element of like, I'm going to get great at this, everything else in their business becomes so much easier. There's so much less stress. It's so much more fun. And then you get closer and closer and closer to that vision, that dream that you had inside of your heart when you first started. So that's kind of how we got here.
Right. Well, so there were a couple things that stood out to me in that, which is the first mindset that you had when you were sitting behind your desk, that somebody who is selling is a special person, right? There's, I've had people tell me, well, I'm not a natural born salesperson. I'm not salesy. I'm not salesy, right? Yeah. And it's like, okay, first of all, I really want to know what people mean
what does that
by
mean?
that, right? What are the connotations that are behind it? So I think the next person who says it to me, so anybody who's listening to me right now, if you're the next person to say it to me, I'm going to question you on it. Like, what does that mean to you? Tell me more about that. Like
100%. I absolutely ask any client or anyone who says that to me, that question, well, like, what do you mean? Because I think it illuminates so much. And so if you're listening today and this is a thought that you have, ask yourself really and truly, like get out a sheet of paper and say like, well, what do I mean by that? Because there's so much attached. There's so many feelings, emotions, like triggers and blocks that can be attached to what it is that you mean by that.
Yeah.
And when you start to like peel back some of the layers, you're like, okay, like some of it might be rooted in something real, but oftentimes a lot of our beliefs around what it means to be a salesperson are depicted in like movies or like random, like not real things,
Right.
just, yeah. So
Yeah.
it can be a very powerful exercise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, people like you, they just have that belief that it's a particular person. Like, because I hear the same thing about leadership too. Like that person's a natural born leader. And I'm like, no, they're not.
Sure. Yeah.
No, right. Just like the good salesperson, the people that people look up to for that.
Yeah.
They're not born with that. And that goes back to what you also said, which is it's a skill set, right? Because I know that none of these people are natural born leaders, natural born salespeople. You know how I know that? Because we all were born not being able to speak, walk, control our bowels, right? Like,
yeah,
we couldn't do any of those things.
Yeah.
So somebody had to learn it somehow. So it must be a skill set. So hopefully that's shifting. Oh, I can feel it now. Oh, thank you. Talk about energetic work right there. Somebody just had a shift and it wasn't me. I felt it.
And this thing of like, it's a skill set. And then I think it's like twofold, right? It's like two sides of one coin. When you get a hold of this, everything shifts for you. The first is it is a skill set. The other is it's a mindset. When you can reframe the way that you are coming into the sales experience for yourself and for your client from I'm trying to get something from them or do something to them. And instead of thinking like, this is my opportunity to do something for them. Sales really gets to be one of the highest forms of service if you let it.
Yeah.
Selling can be serving. Selling can be helping. Selling absolutely can be a way of expressing your love, appreciation, affection, care for people because you have a solution, you have a product, you have a service, you have a whatever that can very genuinely help serve and heal an area where someone has maybe tried for years, months, decades to get over the hump, to find that solution. And if you think of it, if you start to reframe it, that like different like mind shift of saying, and this is right, like I'm just going to assume that all of your listeners like really truly believe that whatever it is that they sell, whatever it is that they have is like genuinely helping. It's so rare that I find someone who's like, I'm just here to scam some people out of money. Like that's like that doesn't happen. Like nobody is out here being like, I'm trying to be, shifty. Like people genuinely want to help. And if that's you and you're listening right now and you're like, my product literally changed my life or whatever it is, and thinking, okay, if that's happened for you, how many other people are out there having a very same or extremely similar experience and are sitting in their pain? They're sitting in their suffering, their frustration, their hopelessness, and they're like, oh my gosh, why can I not, get the clear skin, get my finances in order, whatever it is. And you're sitting there with the key to their solution. But the only way that they're going to know how to step into that is if you create an environment where you can invite them in. And that, my friends, is what selling is. You create an environment and you invite them in. It's as simple as that. You have to make that shift that says selling can be serving. I get to decide. And if I don't show up to sell, no one can get my solution. Because I hate to tell you, like the amount of people out there in the marketplace who are just like, take my money is very small. They're there, they exist, but it's so small. Like those hyper buyers are a very small fraction of the market. Everyone else really needs that space that you create and an invitation to step into the solution that you have that they need.
Oh, that is powerful. I can feel people who are having aha moments right now. There's some light bulb moments happening here. So the other thing that came up for me in your story, because this is something that I've talked about, I don't know how much I've talked about it on the podcast. I've probably mentioned it a couple times in 250-ish episodes. But that's the dream that every entrepreneur has when they start, right?
Mm.
So every one of the network marketers, direct sales consultants, multi-level marketing directors, whatever their title is, who's listening right now, when they started, there was probably some sort of dream that they had that they may or may not have given themselves permission to think about. And many of them have never shared it with anybody.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that and how you work with that with your clients in exploring their dreams and visions and giving themselves permission. Because I know that's a big part of going through that.
It's huge. It's huge. I think this element of like giving yourself permission, so many people are waiting. They're just sitting around waiting for someone else to give them permission. When really the only person who can give you permission to step into your next level, to realize your dream, to do the thing that you have in your heart, the only person who really can, who is actually able to give you that permission is you. It's you. Yeah. So if you're sitting around waiting for someone else to give you permission to step into the person that you know that you're called to be, the know that you want to be, you're gonna be waiting a long time. It's you, my friend. Like, you have to say, I give myself permission. I trust myself enough to know that I have the capability to do what it takes to get to the level that I want to be at.
Yeah.
Like Amanda Francis says it this way. It's like I have job, it's not exactly like this, but like I have job security because I've always bet on me. Like, so if you're thinking about this in the sense of like, you're waiting for someone else to validate you, you're waiting for someone else to give you permission, you're waiting for someone else to like create an opportunity for you. Again, like you're giving away all of your power. You're giving away all of your power that's designed to be yours. It's meant to be yours. And so if you can take back your power and make a decision to say, I'm going to give myself permission to just be wild and exciting inside of my dreams and aspirations and my belief in myself, and choose to always bet on yourself. Like, the world shifts for you in a major way. And I will definitely tell you, it's not to say that doing that feels easy. It's not. Like, so if you're over here like, well, Lynette, like, I've tried, and it's like, well, that's amazing. You will sometimes bump up against resistance in these moments of giving yourself permission to really and truly realize your dream. And so one of the questions that, you've probably heard if you were listening, right, is someone in your upline at some point has probably told you, like, you need to know your why, right? Like, someone has told you, like, you need to know your why. And I'm here to tell you, they're right. You need to know your why. You need to know why you're doing it. But something that I coach my clients on is that you also need to know your why not. Why not you?
Oh.
Why not now? Why not? Like, what is holding you back from believing that, like, the why that you have isn't enough to really get you there? Why not you? Why not now? What is it that's holding you back? Because if you can ask that hard question, every time I ask it, it like gives me goosebumps. I'm like, whew.
I literally, from the base of my skull down my entire body, full body chills.
It will unlock you. It will set you free, because you will be astounded at the things that you're subconsciously telling yourself, why not you? Why not now? Why not this? And then you get to knock down all of those obstacles, challenges, beliefs, so that you can step into the things that you want. Because too many times we believe, well, for your audience, like, my network's not big enough. Well, why not me? Well, my network's not big enough. I've never done this before. I'm not salesy. Whatever it is, I'm not a natural born leader. If you can start to ask yourself those questions, identify, like, why not? What are you telling yourself right now that is telling you why not you? You start to unlock so much freedom, so much capacity, so much power, so that you can actually do the things that you really want to do. Because, my friends, the only person who's holding you back from what's next is you.
100%. Oh my gosh. That's so funny because I was having my own moment with myself this morning.
Yeah.
As I was going through my daily coffee ritual.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that came up for me was I've been holding it, the analogy that I give, which when it comes to receiving abundance is, how can you receive abundance if you're holding on so tightly to the $10 bill, right? You've got a $10 bill in your hand and you're gripping it so freaking tightly.
Yeah.
And then the universe can't give you anymore because your hands are closed.
Yep.
You're holding on. And so for me, it was this, okay, what am I holding on to right now that's keeping me from getting to my next level? Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was that own work. So now I'm going to go through and I'm going to do my own little why not exercise here and go, okay, where is that coming from? Because there's got to be something happening there because I'm not where I want to be yet. Right. So
100%. And what's cool about this is that this can be applied at every level. Because what you're talking about right now is like, because I think sometimes like we watch other people like on the internet or whatever who've like arrived at wherever it is that we think that we want to be. And we're like, oh, it's just so easy for them. Friends, it's not easy. Like every one of us at every level of our journey needs to be doing this work.
Yeah.
Tapping back into your why, like getting really clear on that because it's going to shift and change over time. And then always asking yourself, why not? Why not? Because as you evolve, that's going to continue to change. Like one of my mentors has said it like this, it's like new levels, new devils. Like, but the way that I like to think of it is like, it's kind of like new levels, same devil, just different outfit. Like, because you're going to, until you've like really completely unpacked it, like you're going to see like different iterations of that. And then it is going to be something like new. You'll get to a new stage and you're going to be like, oh, wow, this is a new experience. How exciting.
Yeah.
Or as I like to say, how fascinating, it's like how interesting, how curious can I get about these things that I'm bumping up against that are holding me back from getting to where I want to be and never really this is like very much like in that mindset, like yoga, it's like notice, but don't judge. Like whatever comes up for you as you're doing this work, like great, amazing, but notice, don't judge. Because too many of us, myself included, have been in this place where it's like we ask these questions and what comes up and we're like, oh, that's what's been holding me back. I'm such a moron. No. And then like we go down, we like spiral back down. It's like, no, just notice, don't judge. And then ask yourself, and really lean into this. What do I need to do to step into the next level? What do I need to let go of? And what do I need to reach for? Meaning like, what new skills might I need? Because there's probably, to your point, something that you're holding on to right now that's anchoring you to the level that you're at.
Right.
And so if you'll let it go, that gives you for those of you who are listening, which is all of you, you can't see me talking with my hands at an aggressive amount. But it's like if you like imagine yourself like closing your fists, and then but if you let it go, that hand is available to grab onto something new that will pull you into the next level. And so it's like that element of like, what do I need to let go of? What do I need to acquire? And like what next for me? And you'll be amazed at how much innate wisdom you have locked up inside of you and the ways in which the coaches, consultants, the trainings, the podcasts, the things that will quote unquote, air quotes, appear just randomly when you do this.
Yeah. Oh, oh my gosh. Like I want to give that time to sink in for people, right? Because that's a lot to process, especially for somebody who's just now coming to some of these realizations, right? And I loved what you said about, obviously I had a very big reaction to the new level, new devil, but I love how you reframed it because I would agree based on the way that you described it. New level, same devil, new outfit, right? Because I'm in the middle of reading Get Rich Lucky Bitch right now with Denise Duffield Thompson and Thomas, maybe that's it. I don't know. Just look up Get Rich Lucky Bitch. That's what I'm reading right now. And she's talking exactly about what you're saying, which is every time you get to a new level, you're going to find that next thing that you need to declutter, and is what she calls it. So it's a thought, a belief, a thing that you're saying about it's a past experience that you need to release an emotion around kind of thing. And it sounds like, based on some of the things she describes, is very much like what you said, is you're going to keep finding the same devil. It's just this time the devil's wearing a red wig. And, at the next level, it's wearing a brunette wig. It has new looks, but it's usually along the same path. It's the same devil, the same demon, the same whatever that is there. It's just finding new ways of showing up.
Yeah, exactly.
Because that's your familiar. That's what you're used to, because that's the story you've told yourself. That's the experience you've had your entire life.
Yeah. And if you think about this from like a neuroscience perspective, it's like this totally makes sense. Like we have these like really ingrained neural pathways. And then as we do this work, like you start to kind of soften and like fill in some of like how deep that groove is. And so, but over time, eventually, like the goal is to create an entirely new neural pathway. But there are going to be triggers that kind of, it's almost like if you can see in your mind, like there's two neural pathways, and like you're trying to get to the one that's like going to the left, the better one. But the one on the right is the one that you've been going down all of your life, all these things. And so you're doing this work to like strengthen this neural pathway on the left. But there are going to be things as you come along that kind of like make you jump the track. And you jump back into that same neural pathway. And so until that one is kind of like filled in, completely unused, this one on the left is stronger, that like basically that's what's happening. It's like the, new levels, same devil, different outfit, is that like there's things that are triggering you back into that old neural pathway, that old way of thinking. And I love that like science nerd stuff. It's like, I like to think of it that way, because it's like, it gives me this permission to say like, okay, it's not like, oh, I'm like backtracking, or, I suck at this. It's like, this is a very normal part of creating new neural pathways. And and as you identify these things that kind of help like jump your track into the old way of thinking, you can then unpack that trigger, that thing that's pushing you into that old pattern of thinking that you're trying to get rid of. And then as you unpack those and get rid of them, you're going back to that track less and less and less and less. And then as it's like basically never getting used, that neural pathway essentially kind of like dies and goes away. But I love to think about it like that as well, because it's like, it's not like something's wrong with me if I'm jumping into that old pattern of thinking. It's something I've identified that's, okay, cool. Yeah. Like this is going to jump my track. I need to unpack this and get rid of it so that I can keep making the choice on the pattern of thinking that's going to get me to where I want to go.
Yes. Oh, and this, again, this goes back to what you already said before, which is notice, don't judge. Oh, look, my little brain train just jumped the tracks again.
Exactly.
Okay. Redirect, like, let's go flip the switch to redirect. Cause if you think of it, that neural pathway, like a train track, train tracks have those little switches that they can flip that allow the train to switch to another track. Like,
exactly.
Oh, look, my brain tried to go back to this more familiar pathway. Oh, I noticed it. Time to go back. Like flip the switch again. Like it's just going to be practicing that over and over. Oh my God, that's so freaking good. Oh, I love that. That is fan-freaking-tastic. Because, I don't even know what I'm going to call this episode. When you,
I know we talked about a lot of things.
Oh my gosh. Well, when you first said your why, and then you talked about your why not, I was like, oh, okay, full body chills. That's the title. But then new level, new devil. I'm like, oh my God, there's so many great things that we could, don't let your brain jump the tracks. I don't know. We may just have to like pick one and go with it. But I mean, so many fantastic, really amazing nuggets in here. So I'm going to encourage, I'm going to break the fourth wall now. Badass crew, go back and listen to this. bookmark this episode and go back and listen to it multiple times, because each time you listen to it, I'm telling you, like even just experiencing myself, I know when this goes live again, I'm going to listen to my own freaking episode because my experience has been that when there's an episode like this, where there's so many wonderful nuggets that even I'm taking away for myself and for my clients that I'm working with, that I can go share with them, right? When I go back and listen as not the host, but as a listener, because my brain is not engaged trying to go, okay, what are we going to talk about next? Or, what's the aha light bulb moment here? When I listen back, I have different aha moments, because now I'm like, oh yeah, I already had that other light bulb moment. What other light bulb moments are in here that I missed the first time? So I highly recommend Badass Crew. Go back and listen to this, bookmark it, put it in your playlist multiple times so that it shows up and you listen to it again and again, because I really think, just based on, hello, I just talked about 3 possible nuggets, and those are the ones that I had. Somebody else probably had some different ones. So this is absolutely amazing. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have you back sometime. Lynette,
yeah, I would love
to. So
you can tell I get very excited talking about this. I could talk for hours and hours, because it's life changing, like getting a hold of these things. And it's like, what's cool is like I said, it's like there's 2 sides of the coin. It's like there's the mind shift component, like the mindset, and there's the skill set. And it's both. And you like keep working those together and getting better and better. And your business grows automatically when you will invest time into building the skill set and the mindset that unlocks, as you say, sales mastery. Like this is whatever kind of sales you're doing, like any kind of sales, like this skill set is going to serve you for your whole life. This skill set, this mindset will change your life, will change your business. And it's about taking time to invest in that, investing your time, talent, resources into getting better at this thing that will unlock so much potential for you inside of your life. It's just the most fun thing to talk about. It's the best.
That's amazing. Okay. So granted, we are going to have you back. And until then, how can the Badass Crew connect with you?
Yeah, so I would love to be internet friends. So come check me out on Instagram and LinkedIn. Those are the places that I hang out the most. So both of those platforms, just / Lynette Esperanza. That's a mouthful, but it's LYNETTEESPERANZA on both of those platforms. You can find me there. And yeah, I like to just put out some free content, and there's, scroll back all those reels. But that's also a place that if you have questions, I am actually the person who answers my DM. So DM me and we can connect and answer any questions that you have about this podcast or whatever else.
Absolutely. So we do, of course, my Badass Crew already knows what's coming next. We do have the direct links to her LinkedIn profile and to her Instagram. So whichever one is your preference, Badass Crew, make sure you go connect with her there. If this is your first time listening to the show and you have no idea what show notes are, I'm assuming you're listening on your phone, and only do this if you're not driving. Grab your phone, click on today's episode, scroll up a little bit, and you'll see underneath Lynette's beautiful picture the links where you can connect with Lynette. And she also mentioned before we hit record on the podcast that if you send her a message saying, I heard you on Badass Direct Sales Mastery podcast with Jenny Bellinger. Now, you don't have to say those exact words, but something along those lines. Be like, just heard you on the Badass podcast with Jenny, something like that. So she knows it's me. So she knows where you're coming from, what conversation we had. She's got a special gift for you. So she's going to ask you a couple questions, and she's going to give you the gift that's best for you. She's got a lot of resources available to you. She's got sales tip resources and mindset resources, and she's just going to ask you a couple questions to go, okay, this is probably the best one for you. Here you go. So y'all are getting a custom gift. That is brilliant. I love it. Fantastic. I love it, Lynette. So thank you so much for being here today. I so appreciate you and your generosity in sharing all of these nuggets, because, I was obviously meant to hear this today. The universe is like, hey, Jenny, knock, knock.
Set it up just right for you. Isn't that beautiful? Don't you just love that?
I've learned to listen to the universe so much so that I tattooed it on my back because it's always got my back going, hey, knock, knock, chick. Let's do this. So,
yes.
Lynette, you're amazing. I'm going to remind the Badass crew, connect with Lynette if you had an aha moment today. Let her know what your aha moment or moments, since I had 3 of them. You guys are welcome to have more than one aha moment. Let her know what you thought about today's interview, today's discussion, and reach out and see what wonderful resources she has available to help you build and grow. So thanks again for being here, Lynette. I appreciate you.
Yeah, my pleasure. It's been so fun.
Oh, that's always a good thing. All right. And Badass crew, you know how this goes. Stay tuned because there's another badass episode on its way.
Thanks for listening to the Badass Direct Sales Mastery Podcast with your direct sales dom, Jenny Bellinger. Why are you waiting to go to badassdirectsalesmastery.com? Don't make the dom get her whip. If you enjoyed this episode, make sure to share it with another rock star that you know in direct sales after you subscribe to the podcast so you won't miss any future episodes. You can also check out the show notes for links and any contact information mentioned in today's episode. We'll see you next time.